Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to day one of BusinessPalooza. I am super excited to be starting this event today. This is going to be a 5-day event across this week and next week. We have some amazing guests. We have a total of 10 guests speaking. So I am just super excited with all the content. Welcome again. I'm going to give a couple of minutes so people can join us. And in the meanwhile, please say hello on the chat. Let us know what's your business. Maybe add your Instagram account or your LinkedIn profile, because this is also a great way for us to connect, to get to know each other. I have done events like this in the past where people just got to know each other through the chat and they actually made business connections in the future. They got to do things together. So I highly recommend that you guys use this space to get to know each other. Hello, Sean, Anson. Hi. Thank you guys for joining. So yeah, I'm just going to give one more minute for everyone to join. Please, again, let me know your business name, maybe what you do. And we're going to start shortly. Hi there. Oh, someone that came up from Facebook ad. That's awesome. Nurtiji, I was just saying how I am terrible with accents, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to speak everyone's name. But thank you for joining us. So yeah, my name is Julia Fauci. I'm the host of this event. I am a business coach and marketing consultant, and I'm very excited to have all these experts with us at this event today. I'm going to share a little bit about what we're going to see today. So just give me 1 second to share my screen with you. So just so you guys know, this event goes from today. It starts today and it goes all the way to November 19. That's Thursday next week. Always at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific. So today on the agenda, we're going to talk to Hayson Chen. He's an accountant with over 15 years of experience, and he's going to be talking about the differences between sole proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. And especially about the corporation side, if it's time for you to incorporate, if that's something that you're considering, and what are the pros and cons for that. And after Hayson's presentation, we're going to talk to Elvis about grants and incentives, like government grants and incentives, especially related to business innovation. And if you qualify for that, he's going to talk all about it. We will have time for Q&A as well. So please drop your questions in the chat, and I'm going to be monitoring the questions throughout the entire presentation. On Wednesday this week, we have our second day of BusinessPalooza. We're going to have James Struthers. He is a lawyer at McCush Law, and he's going to be talking about commercial contract review. So, of course, the best idea is that you always have a lawyer to check all of your contracts. But if for any reason, for budget reasons, whatever it is, you can't have a lawyer, James is going to share 10 practical tips for service providers. So that's going to be a great topic, and really great to just gain access to a lawyer without having to pay for it. So I highly recommend you guys join. And after James, we're going to have Daryl and Tia Ho. They are financial advisors, financial planners. They're going to be talking about strategies to accelerate your business growth and minimize your taxes. Again, an amazing topic. We do have a long weekend on Thursday. It's a holiday. So next session would be on Monday. It's with me talking about how to build a strong online presence for your business. I'm just going to share a little bit of my marketing background and help you guys to grow your business online. And we're going to have a very unique session with Maria and Brandon from Ridley Film. They're going to do a live brainstorming session. So we know that video marketing is super important today. We see how Instagram has been talking a lot about giving more visibility to video. And a lot of businesses, they don't know what type of content to create for their industry. So we're going to do a live brainstorming sessions all together, everyone together. So if you need some ideas for video content, the session is for you. On Wednesday, we're going to have Jeremy from Twist Creative, talking about branding and design. So it's just thinking beyond your logo, but everything else that branding represents for your business. And Jessica Savarese is going to talk about how to create a functional home office. So Jessica is an interior designer from Italy living in Vancouver. I'm going to share some tips for an amazing home office. And to wrap, next Thursday, we're going to have Monette from Purdy Solutions. Monette is going to share something that's one of the biggest questions that I get from my clients when they're building a website. It's not knowing which platform to choose. So we talk about WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. So Monette is going to go over some pros and cons of each platform so you can make your own decision of what's best for you and what you need to achieve. And to wrap the event, we're going to have Theresia Joseph with Tavanka talking about cybersecurity and how to increase the security for your business. So that's the agenda for the event. I'm super excited. The event will be recorded afterwards. It will still be available on YouTube. The good thing about you guys watching live is that you can take part on the Q&A session that we're going to do in the end, but you can also watch the recording as well. Just going through the comments. Perfect. So without further ado, I'm going to get Hayson to join us for our session to get started. And he's going to be talking about setups for your business. So proprietorship, partnership, and corporation. Welcome, Hayson, and thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hello, Julia.
Hello. Welcome.
Is it okay? Thank you, Julia. Yeah. Do you see my screen now? Or so let's see.
Not yet. I see
Not
you.
yet. Let me turn off the screen and then I'll share again. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I can see your screen right now.
Is it good now?
Yes, perfect.
Right. Okay. So I cannot see the audience, but nice meeting you all. Hopefully you can take some value after all of this. I'm just seeing the screen in front of me, and I can listen to Julia's speaking. But Julie been very amazing, and by the end of all of this, I hope you really learned something. And if you have any questions, we got a team. We are a team of professionals. We meet every Tuesday morning just to help each other to grow our business. Hopefully, we can offer some value to you. So my name is Hayson, and I'm a CPA. I'm from Trustback Consulting. A little background about myself. So I used to volunteer for the CRA. Back in the good old days, we used to paper file. There's no program, no software. We just fill it in the box, and then we just do a lot of calculation. So I volunteer and I give back to the community quite a lot. So I volunteer since I was 15, 16 years old. So with Integration Youth Service Society, I used to be a treasurer. It's a not-for-profit organization, so we apply the charitable donation, status with the CRA, and we receive a lot of fundings from different levels of the government, right? So, obviously, as an accountant, we need to know bookkeeping inside out. I'm also a hybrid accountant. What does it mean? It means that I got experience working in the industry. So let's say imagine Best Buy, right? They have a team of in-house accountants, right? You got the APAR, right? The receivable, the payable personnel who manage the cash flow, and then you got the assistant controller, the controller, the finance VP. So I used to work in the industry, and I specialize in logistic and travel agency. I also got experience working, accounting firm, right? A small and medium-sized firm, doing tax return every day, financial statements, dealing with the CRA. And now is the fun time for me. I got to work with business owner and client every day. I've been doing a lot of tax planning and consultation. And, occasionally, depends if there's a federal budget or a BC budget. If it comes out, then I would comment on the radio broadcast, which is in my mother tongue, which is in Cantonese. Okay, so today, we did a quick introduction about myself. So we're going to talk about the few items, population in BC, how many small businesses is in BC, right? The business cycle, tax freedom day, tax rate, and to incorporate or not, a lot of people, they start a business, they have a lot of questions, and these kind of questions is the questions that we've been answering every day. So what is the population in BC? So anyone? So let me look at the chat and see if there's any response. Do you know, Julia? Or you're going to pick D?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
You have no idea? Okay. So it's actually 5.2 million people in BC and approximately 300,000 people in the lower mainland. So something, to keep in mind. So in BC, there are approximately 532,000. A little bit more than 500,000 of businesses in British Columbia, right? Small businesses actually comprise of 98% of the economy of BC. So just based on estimation, right? The large company, we're talking about TELUS, right? ICBC, FortisBC, BC Hydro, Jimmy Patterson Group, Costco, all these big guys, there's only 9,000 of them. And they are like 1.7% of the business in BC, right? And the small to medium-sized companies, it's approximately 500,000, right? So if you add small to medium-sized companies, it's 98%. So small to medium-sized business owners are the backbone of the economy of our province. So let's talk about the business cycle. So most people, went to kindergarten, right? And then high school, maybe university, BCIT, college. So you have some sort of background education. It depends on which field you want to be working, practicing. And when we graduate, when we got out from school, we acquire some sort of skill set and we build some connections, right? We used to work for someone else, right? Some people in trades, contractors, they apprentice, right? They have a mentor, right? It's a lot of hands-on experience, right? And then you practice, right? Same thing for all the professionals, doctor, dentists, lawyers, us. We need to practice. We have to acquire some basic skill set, right? And then a lot of people actually want to own a business, right? Some people, they just want to make a little bit of extra income, which is great. It's more like a side gig kind of thing. They got the 9-to-5 job, Monday to Friday. And then after office hour on the weekends, right? Every Saturday they work on the side business, right? Some people, they got a skill set, right? Some people, they want to sell some stuff on Amazon, right? So, and some people, they just, I got a hobby, right? I like to take, so say for me, I'm a part-time photographer. I take photos, right? So sometimes I just do it for fun. I don't charge anything, right? Sometimes helping friends and family, but sometimes I do charge, right? So it's like, for weddings, engagement, family portrait, I just do it for fun because I enjoy what I'm doing. Especially when I go travel, I would bring my, heavy camera. I just enjoy taking landscape photos, right? And there's no money incentive. I just enjoy doing it, right? And some people got a vision. They actually want to change the world. And they actually want to see, they contribute to the community. They believe in something. If you look at people like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, right, Steve Jobs, they do change a lot the way people live every day, right? And when people start a business on the side, usually they will report the additional income under the personal income tax return. We call it self-employed income, but the technical term is actually sole proprietorship, right? You have a self-employed income expense worksheet in your personal income tax return. So you got a full-time job, you receive a T4 from your employer, right? If you don't want to pay so much taxes, there are a few ways you can make a donation. You can purchase some RSP, and also for the self-employed income and expense, you can actually write off a lot of expenses to offset that income. So it brings the income to a lower level. So your total income is not as high, so that you pay less tax. And today's topic is actually incorporation. So we're going to talk about incorporation pros and cons later. When people are making a little bit too much money, which is a good problem to have, they would think about incorporations, and they would call people like us, and we receive questions like this almost every day. The questions including, hey, I'm making so and so money, should I incorporate my business? What should I be doing? Is there any area that I can watch out? I want to pay my spouse, I want to pay my kids. So what about dividend? What about salary? So, all these questions actually matters, because when you own a corporation, there's going to be a lot of obligation as well. So when the business grow, you plateau. Some people, they quit their full-time job. Some people, they just work on the business full time. They quit right away. Some people, they run the business until that they cannot fulfill all the obligations, right? And then they have to hire more people, right? They have to partner up with people with the like-minded mindset, right? With a different skill set, so they can compromise each other, so they can form a team, right? So you focus on marketing, and I focus on operation and accounting, right? So some of the people, they want to bring in investor to invest into the business. And tax planning is also something that we do every day, right? So when people make a lot of money, they don't want to pay so much taxes legally, right? They want to defer some of the tax payable to the further years. So that's why we have to do a lot of planning. We have to be able to advise business owner how much to pay yourself, and not to trigger a lot of personal income tax, but at the same time also fulfilling your need, basically. So a lot of people want to own a house, which is a dream of Canadians, which is not easy nowadays. But there's still ways to achieve that, right? So if you need to pay yourself more just to get the mortgage, you can talk to your mortgage broker, which we have one of the team members as well, so we can refer them to you. So once you grow your business, a lot of people, they want to sit back and let the business run and become like an investor, right? So they got a little bit of disposable income. They want to invest in real estate, stock market, right? What about the rate of return? What about the tax rate, right? Because I've always been telling people that you work so hard for your business, but what about your money? Your money is not working hard enough as you. So perhaps something that you should talk to people like Daryl, right, as our financial advisor, so he can help you with that, right? So when people retire, if it's a family business, they want to sell the business shares to the children. But that's not always be the case, right? The kids might not want to take over a family business. They want to do something else. Then you have to look for a potential buyer of your business, right? So, which could be not easy, which could be your top employee, right? He or she might be a manager of your company in the last 15 years, right? You trust them. They interested to take over the business, and you can sell the business like the asset or shares to them, right? And then estate planning, retirement planning, right? I need to withdraw so and so money to pay for my lifestyle, right? I want to go travel with my spouse, right? So basically that's the business cycle. My favorite book, Robert Kiyosaki talks about, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So this is the cash flow quadrant, right? So a lot of people, I would say 85, maybe 90% of people, like they have a job, or they used to have a job, right? When you're going to school, when you're in university, college, you work for Starbucks, right? I work in a restaurant, and I also work part-time in a bank on Sunday, so I can acquire more skill set and build up my resume, right? So most people have a job, right? And we talk about self-employed as well, which is the sole proprietorship, and then they report income again under the personal income tax, right? So you own a job, so it means that the money that you make, the revenue that you generate for yourself, you can pay off the business expense and also your personal expense, right? So once they incorporate, they become a business owner, right? And then they would be able to train people what to do and then so that they can make better decisions, they can expand the business, right? And then eventually, hopefully, people will become like a smart investor, right? So they build up a certain amount of capital, and then the money work, for them, basically. So I don't know if I can play this video. If I cannot, then you can, go back to the YouTube video and search for this link, or you can just Google Tax Freedom Day. So basically what it means that every year, actually, Fraser Institute, they have done research. They add up all the tax Canadians have to pay. Okay, so we got property tax, property transfer tax, the BC speculation tax, the Vancouver empty home tax, the GST, the PSD, the carbon tax. Like if I can actually rap you a song about tax that we have to pay, and it's not, cheap to live in Canada, basically. So if you add all the tax that Canadians have to pay from the day of January 1st every year to May 24th, so let's say 2021, you don't work for yourself. You work for the system. You work for the government, right? So the first 5-6 months, you don't get to keep any money, right? And starting from May 25th all the way to December 31st, you work for yourself, your dream, your family, your lifestyle, right? So you basically get to keep the money. So that's how much money that we have to pay as Canadians. So that's why it's really important to find out all the ways to utilize both corporate income tax and personal income tax, by making sure that you're not paying every single penny, like any extra single penny to the CRA, right? Okay, so let's talk about to incorporate or not. So basically, there are pros and cons. I'll talk about the pro first. Pro is going to be limited liability. So this is a legal a question. So James can talk more about, elaborate on that. So basically, when you incorporate your business, you are the father or the mother. So you're the parents. And then the corporation is like your son. I always use this metaphor, like son or daughter. So your corporation is actually a separate entity, right? You basically create a new person. Okay, and then if that person, gets sued, there's nothing to do with parents, right? If they're troublemakers, they screw up, it's nothing to do with you. However, for professionals like, dentists, doctors, lawyers, right? If we make mistakes, it doesn't matter we actually make the mistake or error. If if the client sue, if the court says that, you lost, it's going to be personal liable, right? So the ethical standard for profession is actually higher, so that, surgeon cannot just incorporate a business saying that, John Smith, surgeon professional corporation, and then somebody pass away, during the surgery, the operation, and nothing happened, right? Something will happen. So I'll give you another example. So let's say you incorporate a restaurant business, right? So you incorporate a company, and then somebody actually play pranks on you. They prepare a dead bug, put it in a bowl of noodles, right? And then they take a photo, right? And then they post it on social media, Instagram, Facebook, right? And then they call the health authorities, right? And then they would come, and then, I'm so sorry, you lost the case, right? And then your reputation is ruined, right? So basically, you can always wind up your business and open another one, right? So you can change the name, and the liability won't go against your personal assets. So having a corporation actually helps people to safeguard their personal asset, because there's limited liability, right? And we talk about bringing in investor for the business. So it's the ability to raise capital, actually. So if you own a business, it doesn't matter what kind of service or goods that you provide, you are a sole proprietorship, right? So you're self-employed, basically. So if you want to bring in a partner, like a business partner or investor, usually you would have to incorporate your business, and then they can inject the capital inside the company. Some people, they prefer to make their own decisions. They don't want the shareholders to say anything. Then they can be, the so-called silent partner, right? They can be, they can own maybe Class B, preferred shares, non-voting, right? So this kind of share structure, you can talk to your accountant, or you can talk to me, and then James can help you to, to incorporate the business, right? So the cost is going to be the cost. It's going to be cost you a little bit more time to do the paperwork. It's going to be more legal, accounting, business consultation fees. But if you are an entrepreneur when you run your own business, so it also means that you have to spend this kind of you have to incur this kind of cost before you can generate more revenue. And there's in every single bill that you pay, there's a value, right? If you don't see the value, then don't pay for it. It's as simple as that. It's personal choice. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, because you have to learn how to do proper documentations. We're talking about, if you hire people, you have to prepare the PD7A, you have to calculate the CPP, the EI, the WCB, you have to prepare the T4 slip for your employees, right? If you're selling goods or service, most of the time you have to collect and pay GST, right? So with all this kind of paperwork and tax filing, we can help you to do like basically 99% of the work. We can also train people to do it, right? Some people want to in control. They want to know what happened in the company. So we offer that as well. So more paperwork and obligation, right? PD7A, GST return, and you have to basically learn everything in a short period of time. Because when your business is running, there's going to be a lot of questions, right? Your employee is going to come and say, hey, I want to take tomorrow off, right? I want to take a vacation for 2 months. So what happened? Hey, I work overtime, right? So yeah, they're going to ask you a lot of questions, right? Your customer is going to ask you a lot of questions. How come you're charging me PST and GST, but I thought that, the service that you provide is only GST taxable, right? Some export surveys, you are supposed to not charge any GST because they are non-residents, right? So, there's a lot of details. Again, the devil's in the details. So another advantage is that there's something called a lifetime capital gain exemption. So there are basically a few criteria that you have to meet. If you met the criteria, if you sell a small business share, if it's a private corporation, you get a credit of almost 900,000, right? So remember, when you incorporate a business, it's a baby with no value. So when the baby goes to primary school, secondary school, high school, university, graduate, get a job, get a PhD, whatever, right? So it creates a lot of value of this child, right? So when you sell this child, I know it sounds weird. Well, so when you sell him or her, right, as a business, so there's going to be a capital gain, because when you incorporate a business, usually the par value is going to be $100. So $1 per share, $100, you control the company. So when you sell the company, perhaps it's going to be $1 million worth, right? Because you work your way up, right? And then you got the customer list, you got capital asset. If you sell the shares, then a big portion of it is going to be tax-free, right? And when people having like a holding company, operating company, right? So the holding company can actually pay intercompany dividends to the holding company, but the structure can be very complex, right? So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, and we can schedule time to give you some good advice. And the most important thing is the incorporation, is the the income splitting and the tax planning. So you can choose actually the most tax efficient way to pay yourself and defer any income tax. So I'm just going to give you an example. So as a sole proprietorship, let's say you're an electrician, you're a plumber, so you're making 120K, approximately 10,000 a month. You deduct all the expenses, the net income is going to be 70, 80,000, right? That 70 or 80,000 is going to be included in your personal income tax return, and you get taxed at the personal income tax rate every year. Okay, so let's say you have extra rental income. So you also got a condo in downtown, right? Collecting rental income, right? So that might add up. That might increase your total income. So that let's take a look at the tax rate. Okay, so personal tax rate, the lowest tax bracket is actually 25%, and the highest is 54%. So if you're at the highest tax bracket, you're losing half of your wealth. Okay. And don't forget, I just mentioned, the tax freedom day, not just the personal income tax, but also the GST, the PST, the property transfer tax, the empty home tax. All this kind of tax is killing your wealth, right? So that you work hard for money, but what about your money? Is your money working as hard as you, right? So if you incorporate a business, if it's a CCPC, any active business income, the first $500,000 is actually 11%. 11%. And if you make more than $500,000, it's 27%. It's a little bit less than 30%, but if you compare the rate to personal rate, the highest tax bracket, it still makes sense to incorporate, right? If you make that more than 500,000, $500,000, it's a good problem. It's not a bad problem to have. Passive income, investment income is going to be 50.67%. So let's say if you use a corporation to own real estate, and if you collect rental income, again, this is not an active business income. This is passive income. So my perspective is that the government wants people to run active business. They want to create jobs. They don't want all the money and assets just sit there and not doing nothing, but just to collect passive income, so that they kind of motivate entrepreneur, business owner to actually grow the business, to hire more people, to bring down the unemployment rate. So when it comes to passive income, people go like, oh my God, it's so it's a lot, right? It's half. But the thing is that there's something called integration. There's one prime minister, his name is Stephen Harper. He invented a system that's called integration, so that he basically encourage and motivate people to pay themselves. So that what it means is that if your corporation pay the passive income as the highest tax rate, half, you create a piggy bank, and you got a credit inside your corporation. And if you take money out from the piggy bank to pay yourself as an individual taxpayer, you get a refund from your corporation. With proper planning, the personal, like the individual taxpayer can pay 25%, and the corporation can pay 25%. So it really depends on the planning. So again, like every individual cases is different. So ask question. So let's, yes.
Sorry, I have a quick question about this last thing about passive income you mentioned. You mentioned on the corporate side, it's like 50% rate, like tax rate. If someone is having that passive income on their like personal account, not corporate account, does that change or is it the same?
That is different. So do you see this? The lowest tax rate and the highest tax rate? Personal income tax is like climbing up a ladder, okay? The more income that you make, the more tax you're going to be paying. So if an individual is making nothing, so let's say, they just have a bunch of, real estate properties, investing properties, collecting rental income, and the net income is not that high, perhaps they're paying a lower, the lower tax instead of the highest tax. So it depends on personal circumstance. It depends on if they are high income earner, right? Some people, they are making 200,000, as a manager of a big company, right? And then if they have like 5 rental properties under their name, they're in trouble because every single year they have to pay a lot of tax, right? So. So it depends. Yeah. So all the income add up to be the total income, and then subtract the deductions, and you get the net income, and then you calculate the tax payable.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to drop, but I just want to encourage, if anyone has questions, feel free to drop on the chat as well. And I'll pass it over to you again. Thanks.
Yeah, but thank you, Julie. This is a great question. So, okay. So let's do a little quick case study. So this is real case, but fake name. So I, make up the name. So Mary and Adam, okay. So Mary and Adam, they got 2 children, 12 years old and 8 years old. Adam is making $120,000 and Mary is making $50,000. on your left hand side, they are not receiving any Canada Child Tax benefit. The tax payable is approximately 56,000, right? Once they incorporate, we have done a lot of planning for them. They are receiving 11,000 of Canada Child Tax benefit. They call it CCB now. And the WITB stands for Working Income Tax Benefit. This case is from a couple years ago. They call it Canada Workers Benefit now. Every individual, you can basically get approximately $1,200 to $1,500 or even $2,000 from the CRA and cash. In cash. So, and also they are getting GST and PST rebate for $1,200. So the tax payable is 10 times lesser than personal income tax. There's a lot of work. We've been working for quite a while. They incorporated, they have the control to how much to pay themselves as an individual. Mary is not incorporated, but we are able to write off Mary expense from 50,000 to approximately 10,000, or maybe 15. And Adam can actually, pay themselves, really low salary, right? Because they purchased the house already. They don't need to show the creditor or the banker to prove the income, so that he can have control to, to show how much to pay himself, right? So they're getting a lot of benefits from the government, and they're not paying a lot of taxes, right? So some people saying that, oh, like you're trying to game the system, you should pay some tax. Yes, I have done a lot of work in different areas. I audit the government. When I was working in a mid-sized firm, the system is not perfect. Yes, we do have to pay some tax, but we're doing our job. We quite good at doing it. That hopefully that increase your cash flow, and that leave a lot of wealth in your pocket, and you can spend some time to do volunteer community work. You can make a donations. You can actually help people directly, and also the money in your pocket you can do investment, right? So that hopefully you don't have to work so hard to maintain the same lifestyle you deserve, right? So so our tagline is we're entrepreneur for entrepreneur. And we can leave some time for maybe perhaps for Elvis, and we can leave some time for Q&A. And it depends if there's any questions. Julie can let us know. Also, we can and we can offer like a free consultation at the end of the year. You're quite busy right now doing some planning for all the corporate owners, because most people pick December 31st as the year end. So now we're quite busy doing all the planning, but we always got time for you, right? So if you send us an email with your name, phone number before November 15th, we can schedule you in for like a consultation. If you have any questions about sole proprietorship, about incorporations, about basically anything related to accounting and tax, perhaps I can help you. I can point you to the right direction, right? Sometimes you do not see me first. Sometimes you go talk to James first, right? You have to incorporate a company by hiring a lawyer, right? Sometimes you have to talk to financial advisors first, right? Sometimes you have to talk to mortgage broker first, because you have to come up with the budget to to buy the house you always dream about, right? So so we are a team of professionals that we work closely together, and I'm very happy to be a part of this team. And hopefully you don't just participate in this seminar, you also join the other scheduled seminar as well. There's going to be a lot of interesting topic, a lot of value, so we can spread the word to your friends, family, people who want to start a business, people who have concerns, and subscribe, Julia's channel, right? And any questions, talk to Julia. He's our business consultant. She's our business consultant. She's super amazing. So I'll pass the floor back to Julia, or I can go on another 3 hours, right? I can give you a kind of one-on-one lecture, but I'll pass the floor back to Julia. And any questions that we can talk about that. And if you have questions later, then we can also schedule an appointment.
Thank you so much, Hayson. I actually I'm gonna drop a couple of questions that came, because it's very related to what you were just saying, just so we don't lose the thought there. And then I'll start Elvis' conversation right after. I just want to say, like, the way you wrapped this conversation and talking about strategy, I think that's super important for people to know. Even like myself as an immigrant, I wasn't too sure about how all this tax world works, and especially as a small business owner now, solopreneur, like sole proprietor. And the more I learn from people like you, the more I see possibilities of things that I had no clue about, on like how we can save money, save on taxes, how we should be structuring ourselves, and definitely having someone to think strategically and really, because it depends for every situation, right? It's not like there is one answer for everyone to follow. And it's really about like your whole family structure, like you mentioned, like on this last case study. So it's about your life, your family, your situation. And I think that's really amazing, like to work with someone. So I really encourage people to do call Hayson, like book a meeting with him before the deadline there of November 15th, because he has so much knowledge. And in 30 minutes, maybe he already can answer some pressing issues for you. And a couple questions that I got here. So one, it's from Nurtuje. I'm not sure.
I'm bad with names too. I'm good at facial recognition, but for name, yeah.
But that's something that I think it's a very good idea, that like we know that to incorporate, it costs money. So that's why it's not like a no-brainer to incorporate. But is there like how much money, is there like a number of like how much should we be making in order to incorporate and make it all worthwhile? Is that like a magic number or something?
Yeah, the quick answer is going to be 75 to 85,000 annually. In terms of when to incorporate, it really depends. It really depends because it depends if you have children, right? Because if you have children, you will be able to apply for a lot of benefits the government offers. If your personal income tax is showing a lot of income and you're a high income earner, then you're losing all the government benefits, right? That's a few thousands. And don't forget, if you want to be healthy and stay fit, you can bring your tax return to the community center and apply for the membership. And if your income is not that high, it's going to be free for some circumstances free, right? So that's another $600-700 of saving. She also mentioned about what if your business profit are not that high, but your partner has a steady income working for a company. It really depends on how much income the partner is making. The average income for Canadians is going to be 50,000. Husband and wife, 50-50, 90,000 to 100,000, right? If the partner is making 50-60,000, it really depends if it makes sense for incorporation, right? If you're making maybe 75 to 85,000, perhaps it's a good time to think about. And it also depends on the eligible expense you can be claiming. If you can claim a lot of legit expense, then your net income is not that high, right? So in total, your family income might be 60,000, right, instead of 100,000. But if your family income is like 100,000, you're losing all the benefits and you're paying so much tax. And you can only purchase some RSP, right? So there are different strategies, and some people, again, I can go on and on, because some people, they live with their parents, they can claim a credit, right? And you mentioned about family circumstance. Based on the Disability Act, actually the disability definition is very broad. When we talk about disability, people thought about wheelchair because we see the sign everywhere, right? Disability means that you have seen on a wheelchair. No, like some people, they are cancer survivor, right? Some people, they done a surgery before, right? So that can be eligible disability credit, which is 8,000-9,000 credits every year that you can claim. But if you don't fill it in, CRA is not going to thank you for that. So yeah, so just keep it nice and short. So yeah, we can move on to the next question.
This one from Maria. Can you incorporate it even if you have a full-time job, and like if you have a side hustle?
Maria should book a one-to-one with me. It's free for her because she's our team member. So if you incorporate, if you have a full-time job, so it really depends if you work for a big company. So let's say if I work for Best Buy, let's say I'm a CFO for Best Buy, I cannot incorporate and charge Best Buy a fee, because there's clear guidance that if the only purpose to incorporate is just to save tax, and if you have only one client, which is Best Buy, then you are gaming the system. That's called personal service firm, and you will be paying 45% tax, right? So if you have a full-time job, let's say if I work for Best Buy, and as a side gig, I do photography, let's say. So that business I can incorporate so that I can basically leave all the revenue inside the company, not paying myself because I got a salary from Best Buy already. So in that case, I'm building up a piggy bank because I'm working on this kind of side gig job, on the weekends, right? So it really depends on, on her question. So
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna start like Elvis' presentation, but in the end, we're gonna have a little bit more time. So if anyone has any more questions, feel free to drop on the chat. Thank you again so much, Hayson, and
thank
stay
you.
put, and we'll
Thank you,
chat
guys.
soon.
Thank you, Julie.
So Elvis, I'm gonna put you in and welcome.
Hello, hello. Pardon my background. I usually have a virtual background, but now you can see what I do in my spare time.
No worries. I actually love that you have a complete gym. I don't have a gym in my building, so I'm envying your space there right now.
It took a lot of hard work to build it up over time.
Looks good. So I did a quick intro about you and your work with CAD Tax Canada. So you work with grants and incentives for research and development projects. So I'll let you do a better introduction, and the floor is yours.
Let me just quickly share my screen. Here we go. Can you see the screen?
Not yet. No.
That is interesting. Share.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So it cut off. So my name is Elvis. I am the Regional Development Manager for CAD Tax. And essentially what CAD Tax is a company that really focuses on R&D tax recovery. It all really revolves around innovation. That's a really big word. What we're really looking for is, what is a company doing that's improving an industry? What are you doing to create something new that drives any form of innovation, be it breweries, construction companies? And innovation is a big word. You think about software, you think about construction companies, think of high tech, but really innovation, it can be found anywhere. Here in Canada, there's a special program called SHRED. It stands for Scientific Research and Experimental Development. Essentially, it's a way for businesses to be rewarded for developing anything new or improving on existing products, services, anything that shows up within a industry. If you're making it better or you're making something brand new, you can go back in time to recover some of your costs. Here's an interesting stat. Back in 2017, CRA shows that there's 1.3 million companies in Canada, and only 22,000 of them are claiming for this program. Now, does that mean that research and development is really rare in the overall business space? Rather, it shows that this is a highly underclaimed program, probably because of how difficult and how obscure the text around it is, and also the amount of work that is involved. It is significantly underclaimed. A little bit about CAD Tax. So CAD Tax is originally a UK-based company. We've been around for just about 12 years now and have over 15,000 clients across 6 different countries. It's headquartered in Manchester, and it was brought to Canada just over 3 years ago. So we're still new, but just within those 3 years, we have over 800 clients. We have a team of over 110 in-house experts that help us with our consultation work and helping the business owners find the R&D, tax consultants, technical consultants, the writers for the actual technical narrative. We literally do all the work for the clients in-house, where just so that the business owner doesn't have to spend a lot of time doing all the heavy lifting. So where does the money come from? This magical money. Essentially, this is money that a business owner has already spent. A grant is money that you're looking forward to that doesn't already exist. This is money you have to compete against with other companies in a lottery system. This program that we're talking about, Shred, it's a lot more process-oriented. Essentially, if you do the work, if you're showing that you're doing any form of innovation, you can go back in time to recover it. This is your employee salary costs. This is the hourly wage. Contractors or consultants, if you had to go out to figure out problems that arise within any sort of business. Consumables. So say you're a brewery, you spend money and you buy wheat, barley, you buy sugars. That's all costs that you can recover back. As long as you don't sell the end product, you can recover these costs, the hydro, and even travel related. So if you went to a convention to learn about new innovations within AI, that cost that went towards flying to these events and gatherings, you can reclaim back as well. And the industries that we work with, again, it's not just software, robotics, these big high-tech companies. Yes, we work with clients like TELUS, Ani Group, but we also work with your local mom and pop shops, your small businesses like breweries, small food companies. We work with some innovative construction companies that are paving roads. That doesn't sound interesting in the beginning, but when you dive deeper, they're doing so much more that you're only really scratching the surface. So here's the approach. What we do is we have your initial we have the initial conversation to figure out what the business is doing. That's part of my role. I figure out if there's any form of R&D that we can listen to and help claim back. And if it sounds like there's enough information there for us to continue, we move it on to what we call a technical call, where we gather more information. This way the business owner does not waste their time going through the entire process without there being actual work. After we have enough information, such as when they incorporated, what was some of the R&D work, what were some of the technical challenges, we take a deep dive into the consultation. In this deep dive, which takes typically an hour and a half to 2 hours, we figure out the ins and outs of your business in terms of the R&D. What were some of the areas where you had to take a step back and reevaluate the project? Where did you have to hire out to an expert to help figure out a problem to a solution? After all that's done, and we find that there's enough work that we can work with for the year's claim, we gather the financial information. So this is your T2s, T4s, invoices and receipts that has to do with the R&D. After we gather that, we submit it to the CRA. CRA signs off on it. And if there is any form of a review call, we sit on the client with the business owner so that we can help defend the claim. But otherwise, the client will receive the money back in the form of a check. So I have a quick example. We work with a lot of breweries, probably because our owner is British and he loves his beers. When you think of breweries, you don't really think of innovation because beer has been around for about 4,000 years. How can you innovate on something that's been around for so long? Now, if you look at the actual process, let me just reopen that. That was weird.
I removed this screen and then you can share again.
Yeah, some technical challenges. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Where is it? Here we go. Okay, do you see it now? Slideshow, play from current. Can you
Yes.
see the slide?
Yes, perfect now.
Okay, sorry about that.
Nice.
Clearly, we need some innovation here. So where's the R&D in brewing beers? It could be in making the recipes. We work with a client that is making a strawberry brew. They're finding different ways of mashing down the strawberries fresh and concentrate and combining that together to make a superior beer. Finding new ingredients to substitute sugars and whatnot to either reduce the cost, enhance the flavor, make it healthier. That's a big trend right now, trying to make alternative snacks and drinks and beverages to make it as delicious, but also very healthy. You can customize equipment. So if you buy something off the shelf, that's not innovation. However, if the equipment that you buy off the shelf doesn't do exactly what you want it to do and you had to get it custom modified, the work involved to getting it modified is considered R&D, and you can recover that back as well. You can be increasing efficiency through automation by developing machines that can your beer really quickly, so that you can reduce overhead. You don't have to get as many staff to do this for you. Developing novel techniques to improve a product. What's normal is fermenting the beer, but what if you figured out a way to double or triple ferment the beer so that it has a much better flavor? Maybe it produces more alcohol so that you can distill it better. There's so many different methods that a client can go through when trying to make beers. And one of our clients is North Point Brewery. This is out in North Vancouver. The client received $40,000 in benefits through less than 5 hours of work. This is the beer that I was talking about before. It's a strawberry blonde, where they figured out how to make a very potent strawberry flavor when it comes to beers, because typically you only get a hint of it, but when you drink this, it tastes like you're almost drinking juice. So the average beer costs about $5. Maybe $2 of it is in net revenue. How much beer would they have to sell to make $40,000? And that's it. 20,000 beers to get back $40,000. That's a lot of work, as opposed to utilizing this program where they can go back and get money back for the things that they're already doing. So really, you're eligible. As long as you're trying to make something better, as long as you're improving on something that already exists, you can go back in time to recover some of the money. It could be any industry. It could be software. It could be construction, food and beverage, anything you can think of. There is innovation there. It starts with the conversation. So connect with me and we'll figure it out together.
Thank you so much, Elvis. It's funny because I have never heard about this incentive and grant before I met you. And when I met you and you told me about it, I was thinking, like, what type of business could this be a fit of? And then I started stumbling upon a lot of people who actually, like, they are a fit. I actually even found out that my partner has a company that uses this grant. And I already told him that next year to give you a call. Because he already filed for this year, but he already filed last year and got the credit. And he's in visual effects industry for movies. So again,
That's
it's like...
perfect.
Yeah, it's an industry that already exists, and I don't know, I wouldn't think about it. And we were talking at a bar one day, and it's like he mentioned about, like, the process of writing. He said it was very painful, that it's like a big
100%.
essay. It's like a big essay that it's very technical and kind of like not fun to write, and that's why people would hire someone like your company to deal with that. And then I was just very surprised that I had someone in my household that uses that, and I didn't know. And I also went to an event recently where I met a lady from Squamish. She's just launching a snack, like natural, as you mentioned, like natural product that would be a fit, except that she gets her product from California. It's like from the States. So that was a problem. But otherwise, if she was doing, and that's because she didn't have the bandwidth, like, to create everything in Canada, like she didn't have the capacity. So she had to get from the States. But other than that, she would be also a fit. So I just found it amazing, like that there is so many opportunities that we don't even know about. It seems like Lena is asking to share your email again.
Please.
Can you, yeah, you can either share your screen or I can just type it on the comments as well.
Let me just type it out here.
And in the meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, that's the time for both Hayson and Elvis, because that's going to conclude our first night. So I'll wait for Elvis to come back.
Did you get the email? I put it into private chat.
I see. Yes. Thank you. I'll add that to the screen.
Oh, yeah. So we have some questions here. Can you expand a bit on working on a contingency basis? Absolutely. So here at CAD Tax, we work entirely based on success. Essentially, what we do is we take on all the risk, we do all the work. And if we can't find a company money, they never have to pay us a single penny. For whatever we do get back from the government and whatever lands into the client's pocket, we take a portion of that and they take a bigger portion. So our cut is 30% of whatever the client keeps 70% of it. The benefit, of course, is they do literally none of the work. They just explain to us the processes, and when we request for financials, they are able to provide us with those financials. And going back to the innovation aspect, it's usually the work that business owners do day in, day out that's not very apparent. And that's typically the innovation that sits underneath their nose.
Mm-hmm. That was great. Thank you so much. Any more questions? Hayson, if you're available, I can add you to the screen just for to wrap this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so thank you guys so much, both of you, for your time and expertise. I think like I learned personally a lot more today. And again, if you guys have any questions, if you want to learn more about either your accounting setup or if you want to learn more about incentives and grants, please do contact Hayson and Elvis. They are awesome to work with. And I'll wait for you guys on Wednesday for our second day. Hayson and Elvis, do you guys have any last words before we wrap?
No, thank you so much for setting this up. This was amazing. I'm not used to talking to such large crowds, but this was really fun.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Thank you, Julia, for organizing all this. And this group, is really amazing. That I can't wait to join tomorrow's morning meeting. Actually, yeah. So if you have any questions, talk to us. But there's going to be a lot more valuable sections, regarding to investment, insurance, legal, logo, graphic design, IT, everything. Just stay tuned, right? So and also, get in touch with Julia and subscribe her channel.
Thank you. I love how you said subscribe to the channel. I'm not like a YouTuber, so I'm not.
I know. But people been saying that all the time, every single video online.
Oh my goodness. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Alphys. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.